The Last Photograph. A recap of this movie talks about a young boy who is struggling to survive and decided to venture into photography, has his own studio. Then came this young celebrity influencer coming to his studio to, have a shoot. And they started their conversation, became friends, and became an item. But she did not want the public to know that she's going out with this broke photographer. Then came her friend who tried to snatch him from her, but realized that she got pregnant. Now the photographer said, Omo, you need to remove that pregnancy. I'm not interested. So what is the next step for the influencer? Is she going to terminate the pregnancy or try to convince this photographer to accept and become a responsible man? This is what The Last Photograph is about. What I like about this movie is vibes, man. This movie is just fun and vibe. Nothing serious was really going on. If you sit down and this movie is like you don't have anything to watch and this movie pop on your TL, then you decide to watch pretty much because Timini is inside, so it will definitely bring some quite number of views as well. So but I like that. It's just fun and vibes. Nothing serious was really going on. So yeah, I think I like that. It's not every day we need to have serious movies, so yeah, it's okay. Another thing I like about this movie is costume. Costume was pretty decent. An influencer who is in a lot, a celebrity. So you can just imagine how good looking she is supposed to be. So, decently dressed, sexy dressing, makeup on point, hair on fleek, everything regarding that. Then we have the decent photographer. He's not poor, he's not rich, he's decent looking, presentable, he looks okay, and pretty much every other cast in this movie, they look really, really decent and put together. Like, you could just see that this was a costume provided by the producer of this movie. The costume is not from their own personal wardrobe, pretty much. So I think I like that about this movie. This brings me to location. They had an actual studio for a location, and also Timini's house was really decent, providing how they were trying to tell us that he's actually poor because the influencer didn't want to roll with him, and he had a very decent apartment that was really nice. Then of course the rich girl, I just like the fact that the studio was a physical one. We could see the studio, the photographer doing the actual photography job. So I like that, not an assumed photographer without a camera even. So this was pretty good because he is an actual photographer. There was an actual studio and he was seen actually working in that studio. So I like all of that. Finally, what I like is the length of this movie. This movie is not even 1 hour 30 minutes. Like I said, this movie is just fun and vibe. So I like the fact that it is not long. So that is just precise and straight to the point. I like that. Those are the things I like about this movie. What I don't like about this movie, I'll talk about the storyline. Like I said, is basic, is vibes. So if you're someone who do not like vibes, you don't want to waste data, then this movie is not for you. So I was into it and I wanted to see if there was a plot twist, which there was no plot twist. So I'm like, oh, this is just some vibes. So the storyline is really basic. Like nothing was going on in this movie. This producer wanted to just put a movie out on his or her channel, so trust me, you're not going to miss anything if you didn't watch The Last Photograph. So yeah, the storyline is nothing to hold on to at all. Next thing that I do not like is bad acting. On top of the fact that this was a bad story, well, the story is not bad, it's just not holding water. Like it's just reducing your thinking capacity. It's not putting you on the edge basically. So, and on top of that, they had bad acting. Timini was not putting any effort in this movie, even after he tried to become a good boy and say, more, I want to take responsibility, I want to marry you, the acting was just cringy to what, I don't know, it's like, what is this? And even Chuoma, I don't know, man. There's something off about Chuoma acting of late. I don't know, something is just off. Her previous movies, like movies of 6 months or a year ago, they were pretty good. These days, her acting is just it's just mediocre, like no effort, no emotion. You are pregnant. The person responsible doesn't want you or even want the pregnancy. How are you conveying that emotion towards your viewer or towards people who are watching? Like, I couldn't even feel what she was doing. Now wow. So bad acting. Even the secretary at the studio, that girl said, no, they act. Timini was not putting effort whatsoever. Maybe Timini's friend, yeah, everybody in this movie was just lackadaisical in whatever they were doing in this movie. So terrible acting for this movie. I really do not like what they did in this movie. Maybe someone may like it, but I do not like it. Then lastly, I want to talk about the size. This movie is not posted in the right frame size, very tiny movie. So you can just imagine how the cast members on this movie were looking more tiny as well. So yeah, I hate it. And in general, this movie is nothing to hold on to. You can't remember it for anything. Maybe you can remember it for the thumbnail, looking at the picture they use of Timini and Chuoma. Aside that, you can't remember this movie for anything. And on that note, I'll rate this movie a 1/10. So I mean, if you want to watch the last photograph, you can do well to do so. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next movie review.